You're listening to the KATcast, a weekly podcast from the staff you love to listen to each weekday on 94.3 Cat Country. Hilley Hart, Rob Rose, and Jordan J. Now, here they are, talking about life, love, and everything mid-Missouri.
And yes, the official Thanksgiving edition of the KATcast. So, you having people over? Who's having people over for Thanksgiving?
We're actually traveling to St. Louis to my wife's side of the family, and I've never met these people.
Ever?
We've been married.
You've never met them?
Never. We've been married 9 years coming up.
Have you Skyped with them?
Have I what?
Skyped?
I have not.
They're like, we don't even think this guy exists, actually.
Right? Yeah, so this is going to be a first for me meeting these folks.
That made-up guy,
That's
isn't it?
wild.
Yeah. Well, I know you were down in Texas for a long time, right?
Well, right. And
yeah.
this was prior to that. I mean, we've been together since 2014.
Okay.
So, wife tells me that I've seen these folks at her mom's funeral service, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So are you going to pull the whole, oh, it's good to see you again? Or are you just going to be honest and be like, I don't remember you?
I'm going to have to pull the, it's good to see you
Yeah,
again.
no, that's what you do.
Nice to meet you. Be like, we met before. Oh.
No.
Right.
Honestly, the holidays are all about insincerity, and you have to follow that. That's,
The holidays are all about insincerity.
I guess on the Hilley side.
No, let me just tell you. I mean, just in general, people you don't know. I would tell you that when my kids were growing up, my daughters especially, they had their friends, and little friends would come over, and they were teenagers, and blah, 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 blah. And my one daughter would say, oh, so-and-so's coming over. I go, oh, is she the one? She'll go, is she the one with the blonde hair? She goes, Dad, she's over all the time. You've met her. I go, all these kids look the same to me. I have no idea.
Dude, I'm the same way. I'm terrible at remembering names.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at remembering birthdays, stuff like that. It's like, oh, we've met them before. I'd be like,
I'm going to believe you.
When?
I'm going to choose
You're
to
probably
believe
right.
You.
You guys are my only coworkers that the husband knows. And I've worked in this company for how long? I'll say something about somebody and he's like, oh, who's that?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You've met them. They work in sales or they work in here.
So,
we went to their wedding. We did?
So
Yes.
imagine a family member at Thanksgiving, okay? I mean, even then, my wife and I, we've been married 34 years, and there were Thanksgivings we went to, and I would say, because most of the time we would be the ones going. We didn't host it, especially like back in Jersey and everything. And she'd be like, oh, so-and-so is going to be there. I go, okay, which one is that? She's the one married to such and such. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like right. I needed a little primer just to show me.
That's a man thing because the husband is exactly the same way. I'll have to do a description,
what they do for a living,
a funny story, possibly what they drive.
Right.
I mean, whatever. Until finally he's like, oh yeah. You three are the only ones I can say anything about at home, and he knows who I'm talking about.
He's the one that got raging drunk at the last party. Oh, okay.
I know.
Or in Hilley's case, he's the one that's not a Philadelphia fan. Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
That's
right.
Well, I like this story because that just means we're Rich's favorites.
Well, there you go. He just knows you guys the most. But yeah, anybody else, he'd be like, Now, what do they do? How do I know them? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it could be like, we've gone to their wedding. We went to a baby shower. We did this. We did that. And he's like, not ringing a bell. Could you describe them? I'm like, good grief.
My wife will bring up stuff. In fact, she just did it a couple of days ago. She brought up something, it was a conversation. That's what it was. A conversation that we had like, I don't know, 6 months ago. And she said, remember when you told me about blah, blah, blah? And I go, I really don't remember this conversation at all. I don't remember saying this.
You do that all the time. Maybe you do that all the time. There'll be times that Jordan and I will bring up something that Hilley said, and we'll start laughing about it, and Hilley's like, I never said that. Dude, you've got witnesses. You can't say that you never said that.
Here's the bad version of that. We're at the improv thing, getting ready to go on stage,
right. And
there's like a little intermission. And he had told me before the event started the story about like the dogs had done something or something. You had animals that had done something crazy.
My dogs.
And you were talking about the story.
Right.
Intermission. He's like, hey, did I tell you about the dogs?
Oh, my God.
I'm like, yeah, like you mean 35 minutes ago?
10-second Tim in 51st Dates.
Oh, yeah. Was it 10-second Tom or whatever?
10-second Tom, yeah.
Hi, I'm Tom. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't remember anything. That's terrible. Hi, I'm Tom.
Gosh,
That's our Kevin.
That's exactly right. That's how I am sometimes. I'm telling you. No, I mean, I will sometimes. It's like if it's something like really important, I'll remember it. But if it's just an incidental conversation or whatever, it doesn't stay in the RAM. You know what I mean? It goes to the archives, and then I have to dig through the archives, and it's just too much work.
I've started down that path.
Yeah,
I have.
See, you know what's worse? So like, I have that sometimes. What really like?
You're too young to have that.
I know. Well, listen, and here's the thing too. Like sometimes I just don't hear well, and I think maybe it's because I live in headphones, probably. But
we're all deaf. Yeah, it's bad.
My wife will tell me something, and I'll have to like nodding. I'll have to like ask her a couple of times, and my wife's the kind of person like she'll tell you once or twice, and then after that she'll just stop talking to you because she's like, I've told you already 15 times, and then I'm like, I didn't hear, but do I just nod and act like I'm yeah, I know what's going on. And then I get asked a question about it, and I'm like, I gotta be honest, I didn't hear what you said.
You know what? Honestly, I have to repeat back to my wife what she told me. If she's telling me to do something, she says, okay, take the dirty cup and make sure you take the trash out. Okay, dirty cup, trash. Got it. Okay, like I have to say it back so I know, because otherwise I'm just kind of nodding and smiling.
Well, I got accused of not listening the other day because I was trying to figure out the husband's schedule. He's been on nights, he's been on days, he's been on call. All these different things. I'm like, okay, so this week you're on call, but you're normally 8 to 4, right? You never listen. And I'm like, no, you keep flip-flopping, and it's hard to keep track. Yeah, and it's been
odd
changing.
To hear that accusation? You never listen.
And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I listen all the time, but seriously, it changes so much. It's like I can't keep track of what weeks are what.
Yeah. So how we've solved that issue at our house is like we have a calendar at our house. My wife puts everything on. So I just I look on the fridge and I go, okay, she works this weekend 6 to 7. Whatever.
See, I have one where I keep track of my schedule, but he does not have something to where I can see it. Like every once in a while, he'll bring home a schedule. Like for this month, he brought in a schedule where it's like half of it was, where he was working overnight. So I'm like, okay, well, I know where he is. I'm like, what, are you not working for 2 weeks here? No, I should be back on like my normal schedule. I'm like, well, then how come that's not posted here?
Dry erase schedule on the fridge. I'm telling you, it's changed my life.
Okay, my schedule lives on my phone in my Google Calendar. But here's the thing. My wife and I, we play this little game on Sunday night. It's called Let's Look at the Week. And she'll say to me, okay, let's look at your week. How's it going? Okay, well, tomorrow I have this. Okay, Tuesday I have a company meeting. Okay, Wednesday we're doing this for the show. Okay, it's like I'll run through the whole. So she knows when I'm going to be home and what time. Okay, that's going to be a late night for you. And it's like we just lay out the whole week on Sunday, so we kind of have an expectation of what's going on.
I love you and your wife track each other on the app. I think that's the cutest thing of all time. But then it gets you in trouble a little bit. You're like, oh, are you going? Oh, I see you going by.
You're going to lunch.
Yeah, you're going to lunch. Right?
Yeah, I know.
You better bring me home something.
At this moment, I can look on my phone and see where she is, and she can see where I am, and she can see when I'm moving. And, it's funny. We've each had appointments at the same place, but at different times. So I can see like, oh, I'm about to pass you on 54. Here we go.
At least you can like match up like, hey, let's go to lunch or something like that.
So the husband and I, we did that also until he got a new phone.
Right.
And now we've been trying to like, I'll send him mine, my request for a location. Right. And
Aaron wants to track you.
It pops up as an error message for him. Ooh. And so like the other day he was like, I'm going to have to figure that out. I got to get on YouTube or something. And I'm like, hey, if you don't want to know where I'm at, it's fine. I mean, it's whatever.
Aaron's incognito right now.
Well, it's like I go so many different places, and he's always like, well, text me when you get there. What's nice about if you track each other, I don't have to worry about if I text or not, because let's face it, I get somewhere, and immediately I find somebody I know, and what do I start doing?
Yeah.
I start talking. Next thing I know, I've been there 15, 20 minutes.
It is a very handy tool, because I could be home, and like maybe she's at the store or something, and I'll look on the app and I'll see that, oh, she's moving toward me. Oh, she's a half a mile from home. I go, she's going to be here any second. Yeah. I mean, I could see her pulling into our street, and then it says like she's parked in the driveway and the dogs start barking. So I know it's,
that's gotta be beneficial too, right? If you like lose your phone, you're like, oh, it's at work or something like that, right? Like you can see where it's at.
Well, if you lose your phone, it's like, it looks like I'm constantly at work.
Well, I'd be at the store and all of a sudden I'd get a text from the husband. Hey, while you're there, can you and like the next thing I'd have like a list of like, 2 or 3 kinds of Doritos and pizza rolls. I'm like,
son of a,
come on.
You know what else I love about that is that like you can kind of judge your partner a little bit on how much they track you. You're like, what's wrong? Like, why you always know where I'm at all the time?
It doesn't bother me.
No problem at all. Just I
figure if I go missing, I mean,
least you know where you're at.
Exactly. He knows where to send the
I know
search
my
party.
footprint. Yeah.
I got nothing to hide, man.
So we had the Mizzou Tigers this weekend. We went to the game, and I had never used. I have an app for my car.
Right.
I have a Chevy app. I had never used it before, but you can track where your car is using this Chevy app.
Right.
So I tapped the
like
app.
in the parking lot, you mean?
Yeah.
Like where you are, yeah.
And I had to give my car a name when I bought it. You have to name your car.
Oh my gosh, what'd you name your car?
So I named my car Scarlet.
Ooh. Like
Wait a minute,
Johansson?
your car's blue.
Frankly, Scarlet.
Oh.
I don't give a damn.
God.
There it is. There it
I was
is.
going to say, it wasn't
Hey.
after the color.
To be fair,
I would have
No,
gone
not
with the
the color.
Johansson too, you know.
So I open the app and I tap Scarlet. All of a sudden, a map pops up, and there's where I am, and there's where the car is, and it gives me walking directions to get to my car. And I'm
Wow.
like, this is amazing.
yeah, that's really
What
cool.
if
Pretty
somebody else
fancy.
named their car Scarlet? Is there another Chevy there? Which Scarlet is it?
Do you name your car, Kevin? Have you named your car?
My truck right now, which my son-in-law drives, not me, but that's Bubba. Okay, that's an F-150. But my first car ever, she was a brown. This is the first car I ever owned. 72 Plymouth Scamp. It was brown. I called her Becky, but she was also known as my Plymouth Manure because it was a brown Scamp.
That's so funny. You know, my first car was almost a Scamp as well.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad and I, we went to, I can't remember, some guy that worked at a state office, and we went there to meet up. And, the guy was like, oh yeah, and I pictured some cute little car. There was nothing cute about a Scamp at all.
No, it was very similar to the Dodge Dart.
Yes.
Slant six engine. It was a very reliable car, but it was
I can't picture
nothing.
one. I'm going to have to look it up.
I just remember looking at my dad being like, yeah, that's a hard pass. Let's just get out of here.
Mine's Tony, by the way, if anyone's curious.
Tony?
Yeah, Tony.
Hey, yo, Tony.
It's a red Cruise. I named it Tony because Tony Stark. I'm a huge fan.
wow.
I'm an Iron Man fan.
I thought you were going to go, is it great?
Is it great? Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes, not a sponsor, but hey,
A lot of people
But if
don't
you want to
know.
be.
A lot of people don't know. Thurl Ravenscroft is the voice of Tony the Tiger. He's also the guy that sings "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch."
the more you
Oh
know.
yeah. I knew that. Actually,
more you know.
I knew that. That was. I'm showing Rob a picture of.
Oh, those are cool.
A blue
Those are
version.
cute.
Mine
Yeah.
was brown, but that's a blue version.
The one we looked at was green.
Yeah.
I like
Green.
that.
No, neither green nor
No.
But a brown car is like the worst.
Because it was like an army green. It was.
Army green might be kind of cool.
No,
though.
it wasn't.
Very
Not-
military.
Not in that car. It was.
Nobody's going to be intimidated.
And you have
by
to remember at that point, I was a 15-year-old girl getting
don't
ready
wanna
for
look
her
like an
first.
army.
Yeah. Oh, I don't drive this big car down. The kids are going to make fun of me.
Very uncool.
What year would that have been that you were 15? Just curiosity, so I could feel old for the moment.
94.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And then we ended up buying a used Ford Escort GL that my dad tried to tell me the GL stood for good looking. There's nothing about that car that was good looking either. But it was smaller, and for me, I felt more manageable. So I had that going for me.
For first cars in general, there's a certain place in your heart for your first car because it meant freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just meant I can go wherever I want, do what I want. And, my first, I bought that Scamp. I swear I drove it like 100 miles the first day and then 100 miles back just to do it.
Well, you know what's
Back in
weird?
Jersey.
And I don't know if you guys have had this experience. I mean, I know, Aaron with maybe somebody that you with maybe, kids or whatever. But when my kids got their license and my stepkids got their license, it wasn't that big of a deal to them.
Really?
No.
That used to be a
What?
And there was no
passage.
big rush to get it.
Oh my
either.
gosh! I was at the motor vehicle the day after my 17th birthday.
Yeah,
in
no, they
Jersey.
just didn't care. I mean, we hauled them all over anywhere, but anyway,
We lived on a farm, and we were like 10 miles away from Jeff City. So yeah, for me, it was freedom off the farm.
Oh, yeah.
It was, if I got basketball practice or I've got, something else going on, art club or photo club or whatever, then, I wasn't there to do chores. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that was just sweet freedom.
I don't know how somebody could not want. I mean, I have a 44-year-old niece. She's never gotten her license. It's like, how
Right.
can you not? I mean, you have to depend on other people, especially that. I mean, you know what I mean? But
and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like fear of an accident or. But I'm going to tell you, accidents will happen.
Yeah.
It will. It's just part.
You can
of
be
it.
a passenger in one, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know?
But I mean, you just get out there. Trust me, there's no other feeling like it.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, I mean, you don't want this to be able to drive to school. You don't want to be able to like go out on a date on a Friday or Saturday. What's wrong with you?
I like being self-sufficient.
Exactly. Choosing to not drive. I mean, I suppose there's some people it just can't for physical reasons or whatever.
Yeah.
But, just choosing, no, I don't want to. That was always a great rite of passage when you were a teenager.
It does give you an out. Sorry, I can't make it.
Cars.
I don't drive.
Or my car's down. I don't know.
Or that.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a car. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't see it yet? No.
You didn't see it yet.
So you both had scamps for first cars. That's
so
crazy.
mine was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it was going to be.
Yes, but no, it ended up being a Ford Escort GL.
Ford Escort GL.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, because I saw the scamp and I was like, there ain't nothing cute about that. Like my dad was like, oh, that's a cute little name for a car. And then we went and saw it. I was like, there's nothing cute about this car.
Technically, my first car, but I never drove it. My dad had given it to me, and it was an old black Volvo. And it was like one of those old round type style. I mean, it must have been like it was a 60-something Volvo. I never got it running. It just sat there in the yard.
Oh.
So I never drove. So I don't even count that as my first car. Right. My first car was the one that I bought for $900 and drove it till it died. And then finally, I sold it for $250. I put it ad in the paper. A guy came and towed it off my mom's driveway.
Nice.
So it was.
Well, I definitely believe in karma because here I turned my nose up at the scamp, got the Escort. Escort's engine blew up 5 weeks before graduation, and I ended up with my grandma's 4-door Chevy Nova.
Hey,
it was a 77.
nice.
And so, Grandma, she did things up right. Like she had like little pillows in the back. Like she set it up almost like it was a little couch.
Yes.
She had the cute little garbage bags that were attached to the little crank window handle and everything. Yeah, some doilies in there. I mean, Grandma was a hip lady, and I was like, I don't want to drive this to JC.
Chevy Novas do not sell well in Spanish-speaking countries. You know why?
No.
Why?
Because Nova means no go.
Nice.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It doesn't go.
But it was like that dusty blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the what was it? The Ford Bronco. Remember, OJ was driving the Ford Bronco.
Yep.
And then shortly that vehicle sort of fell out of favor. I guess for the connection to it. I don't know. But the joke was that you go into a dealership and it's like, hey, I like one of those Broncos, and the guy says, oh yeah, Ford doesn't sell those anymore, but they've moved on. They now have the Escape.
Wow.
Dum.
Wow.
Well, Broncos are back, and they're really sharp.
Are they really? I haven't seen the new Broncos.
And they're way out of my price range.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they any better than the Denver Broncos?
I would imagine so. Not much out there that isn't better than the Denver Broncos. Yes. My first car was a Ford Mustang.
Like a real, honest to
19
goodness sports car.
1980 Ford Mustang.
Do you have rich parents or something?
No.
Oh.
My dad had a Mustang.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Nice.
He loved that thing.
They're great
Top
cars.
went down. He was always like, I was driving with that thing.
I didn't have it long
Did
ago.
you buy it yourself, the Mustang?
No, my uncle gave it to me.
Oh, so you had a rich uncle. Okay, not rich parents.
And it was the used one. And the O-rings in the engine went out.
Oh, see.
So I traded it in. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
On an 85 Pontiac Fiero GT. Remember those little Pontiac Fieros?
Yes.
Those little two-seaters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a Pontiac Grand Am. That thing was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, see, that was a chick magnet. Those things.
2000 is what mine was.
Forget it. See, the guys in school, they would always drive that stuff, and like the girls were always like, look at Joe's here. He's driving around.
Who's Joe?
I'm just thinking one guy in school.
My uncle had
one cool guy.
My uncle had the Smokey and the Bandit edition Trans Am.
Nice.
That my grandpa had. Yeah. So my grandpa ended up buying. They only made like so many of them, and my grandpa bought one, and he passed it down to my uncle. And I tried my hardest
to be Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. No, I was like, please, can I take this to prom? I'll be the coolest person rolling up in that Trans Am. No, he didn't let me take it. I tried. I was like, please, I won't do anything to it. He goes, if you scratch this thing. I'm like, please? He goes, no, on second thought, I'm not letting you drive.
That is one of the reasons Burt Reynolds became such a sex symbol. And women loved him in Smokey and the Bandit, the way he looked out of that car. And, he was just like, he's like, yeah.
Have you seen Burt Reynolds with his shirt open, his chest hair out?
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding? Do you remember the Cosmopolitan?
He did a whole set.
There you go, that too. Yeah.
My mom had that.
Listen.
That probably did more than Smokey and the Bandit. Honestly.
There's reasons women love, Sean Connery. Or, yes, whatever. Whoever we're talking about. Burt Reynolds. Sean Connery, Burt Reynolds. I was, you know what? He got me thinking of chest hair.
Sean Connery was not
there too.
in Smokey and the Bandit, just to clarify.
No, sorry. I meant Burt Reynolds. Yeah, but see, even Sean Connery.
No, Hilley, you can't even, because you have that one wonky one.
One wonky, wiry white hair coming
that
out.
likes to hang out. And I'm like, dude, just tweeze that. And you're like, what?
Who else is posed like that? What's the guy from...
besides me?
No. Yeah.
Jason Alexander. Didn't he imitate that pose?
I think so, but who's the guy from Jurassic Park? I can't think of his name right now.
Not Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
He do that?
Did he really?
Have you seen where he's
Did
like...
they have a plant strategically placed or something?
It's a photo where he's like sitting in his chair and it's like his chest hair's out. Like it's like a very I'm like, that looks just like the Burt Reynolds and Sean Connery photo.
I'm sorry, there are many of us that just could not pull that off. I'm sorry.
No.
Spindly little arms.
Bing, bing, ding, 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 ding. I see one right there.
I think we should end on that today.
That's right. Get out of here, Burt.
Sally Field is not calling me. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God. Jackie Gleason was the best in those Smokey and the Bandit movies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jackie Gleason pose. Like, I don't want to see that.
No.
Yeah, those Smokey and the Bandit movies were just great, man.
Those were good movies.
They were. It was a great flick.
Well, do you remember the overdub of that when they tried to show that on network television? They had to overdub Jackie Gleason's cussing.
No, I'd never seen that, but
because he used to say some.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to overdub that. So the overdub of it was, "You scum bum."
You scum bum.
Yes.
No, not believable.
And then scum bum became like a hot word, hot term.
My wife and I are
like snakes on a plane.
We are rewatching The Sopranos, and we're up to season 3. There were 6 seasons, but we're up to season 3. And I remember when it went from HBO, which language whatever, to wherever it was being shown on, because you could watch this Sopranos on, was it FX or whoever?
Was it HBO?
No.
Initially it was, yeah, but then but
it was shown on a network that had to watch its language. Okay, but anyway, if you've ever watched The Sopranos, every other word is an F-bomb. Sometimes it seems like. But so all you'd see on the cleaned up was, "I told that freaking Meadow, blah, blah." And then you see the goodbye, "That freaking guy, we're going to..." I'm like, no, this is not the language that
do they call them back to do the dubs themselves? Or is it just someone that does a dub for them?
They're dubbing over that. They did not. Yeah. Maybe...
sometimes it sounds like the person doing that says it.
Well, you get a good impression, I suppose.
Oh, I was going to say, I always think the bad dubs are the best.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy... That freaking guy, where it just sounds nothing like them. Like, those are the best dubs.
Get that freaking guy on the phone. I want to talk to him.
Or they clearly say something else as a robotic voice saying,
yes.
Tuesday. Or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love the Bruce Lee dubs, though. All the old the Kung Fu movies.
Yeah. Yes.
You want to fight me?
Hey, by the way, Chuck Norris, another chest hair dude.
There you go.
I thought you were going to say Bruce Lee for a second. I was like, no.
Into the Dragon,
Bruce
right?
Bruce Lee was cleanly shaved.
Hey, listen,
I know that.
I'm pretty sure Bruce Lee ripped his chest hair out in Enter the Dragon. Isn't that right?
Wow.
There's like a a move where he rips his chest hair.
I guarantee you, Chuck Norris's chest hair is too afraid to turn gray. Anyway,
I was going to say, I smell another Cat Country movie night.
Chuck Norris's hair is unbreakable.
It's like Superman.
Yeah. Like Hilley's one strand.
I'm telling you, it's always...
Leave my strand out of this.
It's the road.
And every time we go to a remote or something, I'm like, dude, it's waving at me. Come on.
Don't make me rip my shirt off here.
All right, Hulk.
I love how we started with our Thanksgiving plans, and now we're talking about
here.
Bruce.
Welcome to Conversations with us.
Don't make me angry, Rob. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I wouldn't like you when you're angry. That's right, Mr. Banner.
Hey,
all right.
There you go. Well, listen, have yourself a fantastic Thanksgiving. Back at whatever you're doing, family, friends,
Be
holiday,
safe.
enjoy. Give thanks. We are thankful for you. And we will have another KATcast before very long.
All right.
Where we'll just jump all over the place. We'll start with one topic, but we won't end on the same one.
Here's hoping.
You've been listening to the KATcast, your weekly dose of fun from the staff you know and love on 94.3 Cat Country. Click subscribe and never miss an episode. Share it on social media and tell your friends with 94.3 Cat Country.